Hello everybody, welcome back to 2DS Studios. I'm 2DS, you can call me Damari. How you been? You doing good? Good. For today's video, I got a very special announcement. After 3 years of working on this channel, trying to work on branding, learning how to make videos, all that stuff, I'm proud to announce that I am about to launch my first official series. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary, it's time to introduce you to the wonderful world. But first, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, so let me give you a rundown. Behind the Sketches is a series where I will be going through the history and behind the scenes of my art career and video making career. I'll be looking at stuff that's from not too far back in the past, relatively recent, to stuff that's practically at the very beginning of my careers. This series has a pretty interesting story behind it, if you ask me, and also taken a lot of work to get to this point, so I think that without further ado, let's sit back, relax, and take a look behind the sketches. You know, I think today's Behind the Sketches episode is going to be really interesting because we're going to be taking a look behind the sketches of Behind the Sketches. The Behind the Sketchesception. The Sketchception. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going with that. I'm going with that. Sketchception. Man, that should have been the name of the show. Nah, Behind the Sketches was a better name. And speaking of better names, Behind the Sketches was originally not even going to be called Behind the Sketches at all. It was originally going to be called Behind the Pencil or Behind the Stylus, because I had a really weird idea at the time where I was going to split this series in half, where Behind the Pencil would be about traditional art and Behind the Stylus would be about digital art. But then I realized, why would I make the same series twice? It's just kind of stupid and repetitive. Why not just have Behind the Sketches, since I do both in terms of digital and traditional drawing?
Both is good.
And it also works since I'll be going into the behind the scenes of the actual YouTube videos like Sour Fate and all the other ones, which have comedic sketches in them. Are they kind of skits or sketches? I don't really know. What's the difference between a skit and a sketch, or is it the same thing? Tell me that in the comments below, and I'll probably forget to read them. Now that I got a title picked, now I gotta make a logo out of it. And this was the very first logo sketch. Not bad. Yeah, the original logo was a 2DS notebook with a pencil behind it, and it just said Behind the Sketch. I kind of like this. I grew up with Blue's Clues, so that was kind of an inspiration for the little handy dandy notebook idea. I could probably make a cool 2DS little notebook design. Potential merch. Now the second logo sketch might look a little bit more familiar. Yeah, as you can see, this is the final one that I ended up going with. It's kind of crazy how I managed to get a good logo design on my second try for Behind the Sketches. Yet the 2DS Studios logo went through like a year and a half of redesigns. No joke, I had been designing the 2DS Studios logo itself for like a whole year and a half, I think 2 years. Just for the Behind the Sketches logo to literally get done. I literally found the final design for my Behind the Sketches logo in the middle of my chemistry class on my second try. Character development. So I probably shouldn't brought up the 2DS Studios logo because that is spoilers for a different episode. Whoops! And the final logo.
There he is!
It's perfect. It was perfect. Down to the last minute details.
Nice.
I am very proud of how the first Behind the Sketches poster turned out, and I'm very excited to say that I'm going to be getting it framed because I'll be featuring it in a Kent Bellos mentoring program exhibition. You don't know what Kent Bellos is? Good. You haven't gotten there in the story yet. This was my first time doing a mixed media drawing, and I'm really proud of how I managed to implement my traditional and digital art in a really clever way, with it looking like a piece of paper when it gets ripped in half. Very smart move on my part. This is also the first time I ever did a 2DS Studios drawing traditionally, or at least one of the 2DS Studios drawings that you see of me with like the green hoodie and the 2DS logo and all that. So that was a pretty cool thing to do with traditional art. And I think that even like when you get rid of the mixed media part, they still look cool in both traditional and digital. Like, it's a cool poster. They're cool posters by themselves, but the mixed media aspect I feel like just adds so much more to it. And the same can be said with the next poster. The two different styles poster. I'm very conflicted on if I like this one more than the previous poster, because where on one hand I think the first poster looks a little cleaner, I think that this second poster tells more of the story, and I think that it hits more what the idea of Behind the Sketches is. It has the similar base premise of the previous one, but with a twist thrown into it. It's two versions of me pointing at each other in confusion. And of course, you might recognize the version on the left, the more familiar 2DS Damari, but the one on the right looks a little off. That version of me, that is a depiction of how I used to draw myself before 2DS. This one isn't really based off any specific version. It's more just kind of a mix of all the concept art from the past, which I will elaborate more on in the next episode. But yeah, that's basically the ending of Behind the Sketches Episode 0. Thanks a lot for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, because I know I did. I'm very excited to start this series and really go into the behind the scenes of basically everything in 2DS Studios. And it's very surreal for me to think that this all started with a sketch. You might be wondering what else do I have planned. Let's see. I'll have like 7 more episodes of this planned so far. There's definitely more than 7 I can tell. And I might finally finish my Mario movie review that I've been working on since April. The new Ninja Turtles movie's been looking pretty good, so expect some more Ninja Turtles content down the line too. This has been 2DS Studios, and until next time, stay tuned and stay cool.